Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep, welcome back to Pacific Paradise, and welcome back to this island we are once more on the PC version of the game, the Steam version of the game. And for anyone who's new here, I'm just going to run through the controls real quick, because we are using W to go forward, S to go back, A goes left, D goes right, Q goes down, E goes up. If you push and hold the right mouse button, that pans the camera around, and as we come down close to the beach and get out the little yellow life raft, we have some more controls, because we are using R to rotate, T to transform, C to copy or clone, delete deletes, and if you have something selected and press F, that focuses. In fact, if we get close and press F, there you go, focuses. But wait, there's more. Yes, there's more. We have the terrain brushes. These may catch you out. Well, you see, we have raise and lower, we have set height, and we have smooth height. But here's the problem. The size and amount sliders are inherited between all three brushes. There's no difference, which means if you're going around the outside of the island with the amount slider cranked all the way up, smoothing the sand, making it smooth and, well, sandy-like, and then you think, oh, I want to raise a little berm here. So you click on raise and lower, you have raise selected, and you left click now. With that amount slider in its current position, which is all the way up, you would raise a spike all the way to orbit and knock Serenity out of the sky. Wash would be very upset, and we don't want Wash being upset. So what you need to do is grab the amount slider and crank it all the way to its minimum amount in between using the brushes. Remember to do that, because one day, you might be caught out, accidentally left click and blow a hole straight through the side of your island. The only thing you can do then, because there is no undo, is just go out to the main menu and come back in again and hope you've got a recent save. Speaking of which, save often. Anyway, we're going to have objects selected so we don't accidentally brush anything on our island, and take one more look. So we are making a volcano. It's a dormant volcano, it's not exactly spewing lava, and we have a very limited tool set. We've done quite a lot with our very limited tool set. You see, if we come over here and hit up terrain and hit up the cog and hit display ocean, yes, this is about as close to the edge of the island tile as you can get. So everything's just kind of hanging off in space. It's just about fitting. And everything in the middle, well, this pool, this happy pool in the middle, if I turn the ocean back on, that is about the same size as a normal small scale island. It's huge. Everything here is just massive, and the only way we can tell how big things are by the fact that the trees are just dwarfed by the terrain itself. And last time we were going around and we were adding things in our lava caverns. So we've got a lot of rock, we've got a lot of clay, even in the tunnel we've got rock and clay, which means that there is a reason for people to come down here and swim through the tunnel itself, which is kind of cool. There's also air tanks in there and some lanterns. But, what we also have been doing is going around adding palm trees, and all of the plants that add resources to the island, some regenerate, some do not. The fibrous leaves and the palm saplings definitely regenerate, but the palms themselves, once you cut them down, they're gone. We added a bit of driftwood last time, but what we haven't done is add things like animals and physics objects. So these are the last two things that I need to add before we go and do another test. I think we need to do a polish pass after the test. There are some things that sort of, in the back of my mind, need to be fixed. We have also left this large area of beach open. How big is it? Well, that's a very good question. How big do you think this area is? If we go down and find ourselves shipwreck 2A, drag it out, it's fairly big. This beach here is pretty large. So yeah, you can get a decent sized house along here. Farms and what have you. You could probably get farms and houses on the inside as well if you really, really want to. But speaking of houses, I mean, you still have your hollowed out volcano layer. So if you want, you can decorate that thing as a skull because, you know, evil genius and all that. But we're not going to do that. We are going to hit up, well, rocks. We need rocks. We put a lot of rock nodes in. So the rock nodes are there in order to give the player a bunch of rocks without adding physics objects. Here's a caveat. There's a big caveat, in fact. Physics objects and animals are going to be a problem on islands. The more physics objects you add, and the more animals you add, the slower the island is to render. So as we are going around adding these bits and pieces, and you need to add them, like rocks just here and here. We're just going to add them around and here. There we go. The trouble is, because a physics object requires processing time, even if it's not moving, it can be quite intensive. These are not too bad. I know if you just add a ton of crabs or sharks or whatever to your island, things get a bit unpleasant, like too many crabs and the whole world stops moving. So I'm just going to go around finding rock, like shoreline rocks, and then I'm going to add stones into them and around them, and specifically shoreline rocks, because that means as the player's running around the island, whoa, it's the end of the day. As the player is running around the island, they know exactly where to look for the rocks. So if you want stones, you need to look for the actual rocks themselves. So I'm going to delete that one there. Okay, I'm going to delete it. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm going to put one over here instead. I just didn't want them to be too symmetrical. The symmetry is fine, but I don't want things to be too symmetrical. I want them to be fairly random. I'm not going to rotate these rocks. There's no point. No one's going to actually notice that they're all facing the same direction. The model is fairly small. People are more interested in just picking them up and turning them into tools. But if they're not here and somebody lands on your island and they don't have any tools, they're going to be unable to break open the rock nodes. And even if they do have some tools on them, they might not have the right ones to break open rock nodes. So they can't mine on your island. So we're just going to go and do a once around. Do this and do this. This and this. Okay. I'm not going to put them too high up on the hillside, because what could happen is they start tumbling. It's not so much of a problem, but if you come to the island and there's 24 rocks tumbling down the side of a hill, that can introduce some rendering issues. So again, not everyone's using a monster processor on their computer. That's good. I think over here as well. So yeah, a rock node. Any sort of flat surface, that should be all right here and here, right? That's good. So there are some things I still want to look at, maybe add some more plants to this area, but I'm going to need to do a test first. We're very close to completing this. I mean, it's getting to the point where if you're adding physics items and you're adding animals, yeah, not too far now. Right, good. Here. So I'm not just going to add millions of rocks, rocky rocks. There we go. There we go. Nothing along here, I don't think. That's fine. Fine. Okay, we'll add some here and here as well. It's not that we need to advertise that they all exist. So we've been around the island and we've put a bunch of rocks in. Rock nodes exist. I think that's fine. Maybe a couple here and here. Nice. Okay, good. Good. I'm not going to put any... Let's go up here and see if we can find it. I'm not going to put any here or up here where you might expect some to be. We can, but remember there's going to be a load of grass sprites and things around here, so they might just get lost in the noise. So have them on the sand, have them on the beach. Well, that's rocks. Good. Spear gun, arrow, spyglass, wood sticks. Well, wood sticks are always useful as well. These can go in the woods. Really? Yeah. I'll just pop them in the woods. I'm going to put them just off the deck, and then terrain objects, because I know it's just snapped onto something. So I'm just going to find some trees and just have them here. These are a little easier to spot. The reason I'm having them hovering above the ground, they won't be hovering by the time... Oh, what happened there? I just pulled it out of the toolbox and immediately let go. They won't be hovering by the time the player comes to the island. Because they're a physics object, they will in fact fall, and they will drop, and it'll be lovely. So I'm just going to put a few around, mostly in the woods. There we go. There we go. Yeah. How noticeable are these going to be? I don't know if they're going to be that noticeable, but they're going to be here, so that's good. So we're putting in some on the upper terrace. Cool. And then, can we get them in here? That would be lovely, wouldn't it? So the reason I'm rotating them, I just want them to just conform to the geometry of the terrain, so when they do fall, they sort of stop moving. Unlike rock, which is mostly a sphere. Let's put some down on the beach as well. Rotate it, transform it. Oh, it snapped onto something else. That's always a problem when you've got a bunch of stuff stacked up, which is why we keep hitting terrain and objects. I'll throw a few on the beach as well, just to say this stuff exists. But I mean, there's plenty of them. Let's do a little what are we rotating? Yeah, not the stick. You've got to keep your eyes open. You got to keep them open. Okay, that'll do. Yeah. Why does it keep snapping onto other things when you let go? I don't know. Never worked it out. Never worked it out. But it's fine. For what we're doing, it's fine. Again, not too generous with the old stickety sticks, but it's fine. So we'll just go around, pop these down in places. I think we can have some up here as well on this hillside, because there's not too much going on along here. The downside to this is if we decide, oh, we actually want to make some major changes to the island, then we might have to remember that there's a bunch of physics objects just kind of kicking around. Let's do this. So let's add a few more around here. On the upper slopes? Yeah, on the upper slopes. That helps enormously. And yes, in case you were wondering, yes, I did just recently rewatch Serenity. I am absolutely keen to see Firefly Season 2. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure they're working on it. Why would they not? Why would they not be working on Firefly Season 2? Don't take this from me. Do not take the sky from me. Yeah. Let's do this. Steely sticks over here. Wouldn't that be funny if someone's just walking along and it's like, oh, there's a stick up there. And then we've got a bunch of stuff here, so we can put things here as well, because there's not too much going on here. So a stick, and then rotate that, and just move up off the deck, another stick. There's plenty of stuff. Rotate, transform, boop, there we go. So we got plenty of things going on. Oh, that looks a good place for a stick. It's gonna hit that and roll somewhere. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Are you? No. But hey, such is life. Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah, there was a time now. There was a time when sci-fi wasn't as well, it probably still isn't that highly regarded actually. But things like Firefly, they just showed that at random times and completely out of order. They made this TV series and then just like, oh, we're going to show it at midnight. I'm going to show episode 3 first and then show episode 9. And it's like, wait, why are you doing that? Ah, we don't care. Oh, okay. Syndication, probably not the best thing for a TV series. Yeah, Lex did play on that a bit. So when Lex got syndicated, because it was a German and Canadian thing, they got syndicated by the Americans. Then they spent season 4, I believe, just ragging on North America, ragging on the United States. Why? Oh, because they could. Prince became the president of the US, and he had a literal nuclear football. And I think they nuked Orlando. Something like that. Some part of Florida. Just because they could. They're just having a bit of a day. Yeah, sci-fi. Let's see what's going on. So we've got the sticks down. We got... What else have we got? Oh, let's just check that was not actually stuck in terrain. It is not. Good. Excellent. Whee! Right, so we've got sticks and rocks. Tarp panels. We don't want to put tarp panels down. Even though it's in the toolbox, it is one of those things that has been removed. And you can tell it's been removed because it ain't got no texture. So you can put them in. I don't think they do anything though. So gyrocopter parts, no, you don't want to give people gyrocopter parts. They can get those themselves. We've got a couple of lanterns down, label maker rations. No, we don't really need any of this stuff because we've got the forts over there. Clay lumps. Nope, cloth. Oh, yeah. Might be a good idea to put some cloth down. Just have bits here and there. In logical places, let's put a little bit of cloth here. So we can put it in such a way that it'll fall and it'll fall over. We'll put some metal and we'll put some planks around the outside of the island as well. Is there any other places where cloth might exist? You know what? I think it's just funny to have a bit of cloth on the roof here. Really? Yeah, someone's going to jump up there, which they might. They might find something on the roof. And you know what? Since there are two of these, let's do the same thing over here. Hitting shift is actually move faster, but it's also kind of a dangerous thing to hit. So there's a couple of bits of cloth, not too much. I mean, you can make cloth. It's not difficult. Brick, scrap, barrels. Ooh. Are there going to be barrels on this island? Yeah, probably. Let's put barrels in logical places. Barrels. Let's put some here. Okay. So we'll put them there. They're not a physics object, not until you break the chain and these all turn into physics objects. So I'm going to put some here because this is where the jetty is. I'm not going to put any over there. We could put some over here. That would be kind of fun, I think. So let's do that. Barrels. Let's put some over here. Right, okay, cool. Anything else? Why do you keep saying it like that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, my brother was playing a game and someone was like, get to barrels. And he's like, I have no idea where that is. It was Rainbow Six. It turns out it was a room. Put some here as well. So there's 369 barrels on this island, which is kind of cool. So we've got some bits there. We don't need any more air tanks. We've got a couple in the actual crater itself. Don't need arrows because you'll never find them. Barrel scrap is a physics object. Let's avoid that. Boy balls. We don't really have a reason to put balls on our island. Yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere. Clay, nope. Cloth, we've already done a little bit. Coconuts, I mean, we've got so many palm trees down there. We don't need to add coconuts. Coconut flask, again, not really. Compass, probably not. A crude axe, a rude axe. Yeah, we could put some things like that around. So, but let's not do that. Duct tape. Yeah. See, a lot of these buildings that we've got on our island are just going to generate huge amounts of loot anyway. So it's all the stuff that is not going to be around. Jerry cans, difficult to get hold of. Lanterns, lashings. Lanterns are kind of fun. Lanterns are fun. Let's do this. So why don't we... Brain objects. We could always put a lantern in here. Now, bearing in mind these places are likely to generate their own loot. Let's do this. I'm going to do the same thing. Pull it up off the deck just a little bit, because you don't know where the hitbox of this thing is. So that means if someone's... Hold down shift, fly off the island. You don't know if someone's coming here at night and then... Oh! This thing's lit up like a Christmas tree. Nice, 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 nice. Or we could light this one up. I don't think we'll do both of them. Right, let's pull you out of there and then delete you, since we know you are in fact a lantern. I'm going to do the same thing with this. Let us... Okay, terrain. Change the size of this brush down so we can actually see what's going Lower selected, just come off the stop just a little bit. And I just want to... just want to find this. I just want to push this back a little bit to make it a little cleaner through here. There we go. There we go. Scoot back, make sure we haven't accidentally opened anything up that we shouldn't have opened. No. Okay, cool. So go to objects, grab you, move you up a bit, and there you go. That's better. That's a little bit more inviting. Right, terrain objects. So there are in fact 3 lanterns on the island. I don't think we need... Yeah, we could actually. There is one more place that I would think a lantern would be a good idea, and that's over here in the researcher's hut. Can we just go in through the roof? I believe we can. Oh, that was less of a wee and more of a Now, there's going to be there's a table here, which is probably going to have a box on it. There's going to be a container here and probably one here as well. We've got to be a little bit careful. If you put anything on these shelves, chances are you can't pick them off the shelf. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know what it is about that, but it's kind of difficult to get stuff off the shelf. It's like the hitbox is too close. So I'm just going to see. That'll probably be fine. Can we go up through the roof? Oh, we can. There we go. Done. So terrain objects, again, nothing selected. So these won't be on during the day. They turn on at night and turn off. They turn off during the day. Lashings, leather, nope. Machete, no. Salves, not really. Vehicle parts, no. I mean, kind of useful. But again, the island has got so many crates on it. Rawhide, no. Refined axe, Could tell a story with a refined axe, but there doesn't seem to be many places. Let's scoot over here that we could do it. I mean, we could literally just grab refined axe and put it here. Is there a metal axe, or is that one of the mods? I think it's one of the mods. There might already be a refined axe here anyway, it's part of the loot, but you can go here. You might fall off into the ocean, but whatever. And it's snapped onto something else. So terrain and objects. Okay, cool. So they were living on there. They were living on there. Refined knife. Nah. Spears, rocks. Already got that. Corrugated scrap. Okay, we do need some corrugated scrap on the island. It might be fun to put it in places where there's bits of aircraft. So have them in this sort of shallow area here. There we go. Because they'll just flop underwater anyway. Let's rotate it. Just there we go. Rotate that a little bit. Cool. And this is why. So this, I've got a piece of metal selected, and this is now rotating. This is why we always hit terrain and objects. So we got nothing selected, because sometimes this happens. Okay, well, that's a pain in my butt. But that's fine. Okay, yeah, terrain objects, nothing selected. Now we can select something and pull it out. Now we can hit that. Now we can give it a slight rotate. So we've got some metal near the aeroplane. That's kind of cool. Encourages you to do stuff around there. Let's do this. So put some over here. Wow, like decorating the outside of the island is going to be a bit of a task. Some over here, yeah, makes sense. Let's rotate it over. T transform, bring it up. Realize that we've just snapped onto a plant, and then terrain objects. Good. So we'll do the same thing. So yeah, we just go around the outside, just popping bits of metal down where we think metal should be. Or if there's just a big old empty space. Because people can never have too much metal. I think the cost of things in the game was never really addressed. It's like, oh, how much does something cost to build? It's like 4 metal, 1 floor. So that does seem a bit expensive, considering these metal sheets are quite big. But, alright. Okay, well, we'll put them near the shoreline. Okay, that's plenty of metal. Remembering how monstrous this island actually is. Plank scrap. Again, we need plank scrap on the island. That is definitely something that's going to float in. So let's do the same thing. Go around the island and just pop it in. Excellent. Yeah, Tarwanian was saying that her favourite sci-fi is definitely... we're just going to put this in here. Yeah, definitely. I want to say Blake 7. I'm like, say something that isn't. I'm like, okay, Blake 7. Nope, it's not Blake 7. I don't think anyone remembers Blake 7, to be honest. Terrain objects. I think that's before my time, even. What was it? It was a British sci-fi, and it's famous for one thing. Everyone dies in the end. Spoilers for a TV show you're probably never going to watch. But yeah, it was crazy. No, Farscape. Farscape has one of the best characters ever in Harvey, which is basically the bad guy as an implanted brain chip in the protagonist. It's like, wait, what do you mean? But they're like the fun, like the cool aunt bad guy, cool wine aunt bad guy. Yeah, Harvey's great. Like one of the best antagonists inside one of the best protagonists. It's a good story, and they kind of did the same thing they did with Firefly, in that they wanted to wrap the series up. They were just like, I'm going to stop the series. Like, oh, all right. But they did at least finish it off with a film, which is what they did with Firefly when they made Serenity, the film, named after the spaceship, which is good. At least they didn't just like kill it off and leave it. Let's do this. I'm trying to build an island and talk about sci-fi. Is it working? I don't know. Brain can't process too many things all at once. Okay, well, we've got a bunch of wood on the island. It's not a huge amount of wood, but that's enough, I think. So let's carry on. It's probably about the same or more than a normal island anyway. Right. Spear gun, don't need it. Spear gun arrows, none. Spyglass, wood stick, already put them down. Stone tools. There's probably going to be some stone tools on the survivor huts. So the survivor huts are probably going to have some anyway. Tarp panels, can't do that. Torch, no point, you get so many of them anyway. Tire scrap, tires. Yeah, why would there be tires on this island? I don't know. It's 2 tires. I mean, we could put some up here. But why would we? I think we can put some down here. Yeah, I think this makes more sense to have them down here. So let's do that. We've added some tires. There's two tires is 1 raft base, right? Yeah. Is it guaranteed that this will have something on it useful? Probably not, but I think it's kind of funny to put these on in a place where we know nothing's going to spawn, so we can guarantee there's going to be at least 2 sets of tires, and that means you have to go and grab them and pull them back. Good, so we've got the 6 tires, that's 3 raft bases. Alright, good. Terrain objects, nothing selected. Water bottle and water skin, don't need those. Right, that's all the physics objects I'm going to add, because now we've got a bunch of stuff on the outside of the island, and there is just a ton of stuff now. It's kind of crazy. Animals. Animals are another thing that is going to cost processing time. Too many crabs, spoiled crab broth? Don't know, don't eat crab. But crab spawner is the one that you want. So I'm going to have a nice big area of land here, and this... What is down there? Oh, it's the rock. Okay, cool. Terrain objects have got nothing selected. We just put crab in. Where did crab go? Oh, there you are. Hello. You're so small. Crab is small, but it's the crab spawner. If you just put crab down, and the player comes along and smashes crab in face with rock, there'll be no more crab. With the crab spawner, it means that every 6 days you get new crab. Now, chances are he's just going to walk off into the sea and you'll never see him again, which is why we put him on a nice big area of land, so he's got a lot to play with. But they tend to walk in a circle and then, like, annoyingly get lost. Let's see. We'll put a few of them down. I'm just pulling them off the terrain. Like a physics object, they will drop down to meet the terrain. So if you put them up in space, they will absolutely do that. We've got 1, 2... This is very narrow along here. That's the trouble. That's the trouble. You might not ever see it. So I'm going to put one here instead. Alright, we've got a few. We've got a few on the island. That's nice. We're going to have birds. There's going to be fish in the seas. That's not too much of an issue. If I put crab in here, crab is likely just to walk off into water. They're not supposed to, but they likely just walk off into the water and get stuck. So I'm going to do that. Giant crab spawner, and hog spawner, marlin, fish. So anything that says fish, shark, these are not spawners. If somebody comes along and absolutely murderizes one of these creatures, that's it, they're done. I have put sharks on islands before. There are 2 problems with putting a shark on an island. First of all, it's annoying. Second of all, it just swims into the terrain. So the shark just swims into the terrain, boop, and then just swims under the island like a little gremlin, and you hear the shark music constantly, but you can't get to them. So that's super annoying. I would not recommend slamming your face into a tree. I would also not recommend putting sharks on an island. Just, you know, they never refine it. A shark spawner might work. Night snake spawner, same thing. Hogs and hog spawners. I think the hog is super annoying, as are the snakes, and we're not going to do that. Giant crabs might be a bit more okay. Just depends where people are going to be putting their houses. I'm going to put one over here. And hopefully it doesn't walk off into the ocean, which they might do. But we have no control over that. I'm going to put one up here in the woods. Okay. And is that everywhere? Maybe. We could try putting one here. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's do that. So 3 giant crabs. Right, okay, that's as many animals as I'm putting on the island. And as someone who has absolutely filled the island with trees, I'm going light on the animals. Knowing that underwater will have fish, so there'll be corals. You don't need to do anything with that. The game will give that to you automatically. Birds will be on the island. The game will give that to you automatically. So we've got some crab. And we got some giant crab. Not in places where I think houses might be built, so along here is fairly open and clear. Not difficult to take out a giant crab, just smash it in the face of the rock until it stops moving, and then you got dinner, which is lovely. Oh, max reached anyway. Oh, so 3 giant crabs. Ooh, that's a sign I don't think I've seen before, or have I? I don't know. Good, right, so we have done all the physics objects that we are going to do on the island, and we've done on the animals that we're going to do on the island. That is done. Dunzo. So I think next up, the only thing we need to do now is test the island. So we need to give it a testing game. I need to fix a few things. So this still hasn't been fixed here. So my player can drop down and get stuck. We know about that. We still haven't done anything here. So we need to finalize this. And there's just something I'd like to do here. There's just something about this bit that just feels a bit cold and a little bit open. So there are 3 things that we need to do, but I would very much like to test the island next time, specifically sploosh this bit here. So the camera just got inverted. I want to see what this looks like, and I want to see if the treasure does indeed drop from the rocks. So if you got to this point in the video, definitely consider leaving a like. Leave a subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you want notifications, dingle the bingle. If you don't want notifications, don't click the bell, and I'll tell you what. I'll catch you next time.